Hello and welcome to Whole Home Wednesday. It's our mission to keep you safe and healthy at home. Last week, we talked about lead paint and what you need to do if you are doing a project at home, things to consider. We spent some time talking about if you have a home that's built before 1978, there's a good chance that there's lead paint in your home. And without going through having it tested, if your child doesn't have an elevated blood level, there's a way to work safe. And we've got our whole home expert here, Brad Staggs, that's going to talk us through doing a project at home. If you assume that there's lead paint there, how to work safe. Brad, what do we got?
So today we've got an old door frame that we want to repaint. So we're going to have to prep the door, scrape the loose paint off. But because we live in a house before 1978, we're assuming that there's lead paint on it, or we've had it tested and we know it. So we do need to work lead safe, and it's pretty quick and it's pretty easy. So the first thing that we want to do is we want to tape down some plastic to the floor. So this is our work area, so we want the plastic to go 5 feet away from our work area and 5 feet that way. So not just a canvas drop cloth, you need a piece of plastic that dust cannot get through. So that's our first thing that we're going to do. Second, some pretty simple tools for if you're working with lead paint. You'll want to avoid power tools as much as possible. So there are some power tools that you can use for lead paint, but they're specialty. They need to be hooked up to a HEPA vac. Those are things that you might be able to rent from a tool rental type place, but your normal palm sanders and things you really don't want to use.
And that's because you want to minimize the dust? Is that why you want to stay away from power tools?
That's correct.
Okay.
So the first thing you're going to do is put on your gloves, and I highly recommend putting on a mask too. But the simplest tool that you have for sanding and scraping with lead paint is just a water bottle, a spray bottle. So that if you go ahead and you spray this surface, you can go ahead and scrape away and that dust is being contained. So just keep spraying, keep sanding. And that's the best way to keep the lead dust down. So, and when you're finished with the project, I also have some booties on here too. So once I've started working with my lead paint, I'm not going to walk off this plastic to other places in the house. So I'm going to go ahead and when I'm all finished, I'll take my booties off. I'm going to wrap everything up very neatly and very carefully. And then if I have a HEPA vac, so not just a plain shop vac. Shop vacs they don't filter enough dust. I will say that home vacuum cleaners like Dyson's, they do have a HEPA vac in them. Okay. Those are not for large commercial applications, but if you're at home, they will work for you. So then just HEPA vac it and you're finished with your project.
So Brad, let me ask you this. So it's got to be plastic because you don't want anything to drip through. What if this is an exterior door? Would I do anything differently if I was scraping my door in my front porch or outside?
Sure. So if you're outside, you really want to make sure your plastic's maybe 10 feet from that space. And you also have to think about what the weather's like, because if it's windy, then it's probably not the time to do that project. And there are certain circumstances where maybe you have to hang plastic vertically and set up a full containment. But if you keep things wet, then you can really get away with just the small containment.
Thank you. So if you're doing a project at home, this is the safest and healthiest way to do that. And if you're having someone else come into your home to do a similar project, ask the same kind of questions. Or do they operate as if lead paint is present? Most contractors are required to have a level of lead safe work practices training in order to work here in our area. And if you have any questions, please visit us at the Whole Home Innovation Center and or email us and we'll see what we can do to help out. Next week, we're going to talk about a lead risk assessment, and that's something that you need if someone in your home has an elevated blood level. And we'll go through the risk assessment next week, but thank you for joining us. Thank you, Brad.
Sure.
All right.